Cells. Let's start with history. So the first to see the cell, and you actually, I shouldn't say this, but don't have to know this scientist on the test, okay? I just wanted to name him. What I want you to know is what he saw. Robert Hooke was the first to use a microscope to see the cell, okay? And he saw this, and he named it a cell. Why? Anybody know?
He was like monks, like they lived in these things called cells, and he thought it looked like
Just like prison cells, actually. So they look like little boxes to him, and what he looked at was a cork cell. What kind of cell looks like boxes? Which is what? Plant cells. Good. So he actually looked at plant cells. So there is a theory about cells called the cell theory, and it has 3 parts. Yes. Any of the blanks. All organisms. Yep. Are what? Good. Are made up of at least one cell. Were you raising your hand? Who can give me another part?
Cells are the building blocks.
Good. Cells are the basic unit and function, or the building blocks of all living things. Look at the picture. What is this showing you in this picture? It is, or mitosis. So what does that mean? They're dividing or doing what? Reproducing. All cells come from pre-existing cells. So where did the first cell come from? Good answer. All right. So all cells have a membrane. Good. And these are all cells. In other words, it doesn't matter what type of living thing you are. If you're a living thing, that means you have at least one cell, and your cells will have a membrane. Okay? Yep, but we're talking about all cells, right? What else do all cells have? Good, cytoplasm. So I'm pointing to kind of like the space inside the cell. And then what am I showing here? DNA. Some form of nucleic acid, actually, well, really DNA, are going to be found in living things. I was going to label this cell here, which is a bacteria cell. What's the pink stuff? The pink stuff right here. DNA, right? Where's the cytoplasm? The purple, okay. Cyto, I'm just going to shorten the word. And then the black line is? Good. All right, so normally I cover these and I say there's 2 types of cells, and I usually get the answer animals and plant cells. No. Animals and plant cells all make up one type of cell. The 2 types of cells are prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. And the thing that makes them, the main thing that differentiates one from another is what? Does anybody know? They all have a membrane, right? Nope. Yes.
Plant cells have chloroplasts.
We're talking about prokaryotic cells versus eukaryotic cells.
Doesn't one have like the nucleus floating around in the
Getting close. One has a nucleus. The other one does not. Which one has a nucleus? Nope. Eukaryotic. Think of this. You have eukaryotic cells. Okay, try to remember it that way. You have eukaryotic cells. Nucleoid. So it doesn't have a nucleus, it has a nucleoid, which is kind of like a structure to house the DNA, we could say. Now, organelles present, a eukaryotic cell has a lot. Prokaryotic cells have cytoplasm, DNA, and membrane, just as we mentioned. Now, they may have other parts, and we're going to cover them. May have other. We're going to cover them later when we do the chapter on prokaryotes, okay? RNA is a form of DNA. So it's nucleic acid, DNA is deoxyribose, and that's ribose. Now, prokaryotic cells reproduce how? They split. Mitosis, but cells undergo mitosis. Organisms undergo types of reproduction. Good, asexual. And prokaryotic cells, what do they go through? I mean eukaryotic. Correct? Both, actually. Who has prokaryotic cells? Who is the type of cell? No. Plant cells actually have eukaryotic. Bacteria. The only organisms that cells lack nucleus are bacteria. All others have a nucleus in their cell. So we know plant cells are eukaryotic. Who else? Protist. Who else? Whoops. Fungi. And who's the last one? Which are what? Animals. Good. A protist and animals. All right, so here's a visual of the complexities between a prokaryotic and a eukaryotic cell. Now remember I told you they can have more. This is another structure. This is another structure. A cell wall is another structure. I'm going to talk about all of those while teaching you eukaryotic cells. So I'm going to focus on eukaryotic cells parts, which are called what? Organelles. So write that down. We're going to focus on the organelles of eukaryotic cells because the function overall is the same. And that'll help you learn about both. Organelles are parts of cells. And we're going to start with the nucleus. The nucleus of a cell is like what? The brain of the cell. It is the center controller of all cell functions, not of you, of your cells. Your brain controls your functions. The nucleus of the cell controls cell functions. And notice how I put the word center controller because that kind of helps you understand where it's located. It's usually located around the center of the cell, right? It's large and dark. So when you're going to label your cells, you want to know that it's a large organelle and it's dark. So if you're going to make a model, I expect that part of your cell to be larger than most of the organelles and darker. Yes? It has what inside of it? DNA. Good. It has DNA and chromosomes inside of it. And it's surrounded by, look at this white thing. What do you think that is? We're in the nucleus. What is that? No. Cytoplasm is all around. A membrane. Good. It has its own membrane. Okay? Or envelope. You could put envelope / membrane because they're the same thing. Those words might appear and they mean the same thing. In the center, it has another organelle. Oh, there I put nuclear membrane. That, it sounds like nucleus. Huh? Anybody know what it's called? Nope. Good. A nucleolus. Anybody know what the function of a nucleolus is? Because it has its own function. So if you want to kind of put a line here and underline it so you know that it's another term, and so is this, right? Like nucleus. Anybody know what the function of a nucleolus is?
Isn't that like the nucleus of the nucleus?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
It's in the center of the nucleus. So right here, you see this little dot right here? That's the nucleolus. And it makes this thing right here. Anybody know what that is? Which is all over the cell, floating around. And it's found on the ER. Nope. Nope. Little dots all over the cell and on the rough ER. Ribosomes. Good.